Hello and welcome to Thoughts Can Heal podcast. I am your host, Denise Lynn, and I just want to wish you a huge welcome and tell you how much I appreciate you for spending a few minutes out of your day to listen to me. All right, so today's podcast, I'm really excited to share some really good stuff with you guys. If you're new to this podcast, I welcome you, and I just want you to know that basically I just share tips and tools that I have learned that have helped me not only reduce stress, help me regulate my nervous system. I also share a lot about personal development, and I get really geeked out about anything manifestation and law of attraction and all that stuff. So if you are here and you just found me, it's probably not an accident. And if you have been following me for a while, I am just so excited that you're back. All right. So for those of you who don't know, I have been studying personal development for about 10 years now. And I study every single day. I am a very serious student of this information. I also study neuroscience and all really cool things like that, manifestation, law of attraction, law of vibration, all that good stuff. Now, if I could only figure out how to get my dog to stop barking when I'm doing podcasts, I don't know, maybe I will. I'm going to manifest that. All right, so I've had a lot of wonderful mentors. Bob Proctor was my very first mentor, and then I started studying and taking a lot of programs with his very close friend, Peggy McCall, and he was actually her mentor. And I've studied all different types of things from the teachings of Abraham. I'm really into Dr. Joseph Murphy, Neville Goddard, Louise Hay, of course. And so I study a lot. And recently I have been on a big Neville Goddard kick. And he was one of the very first teachers that I learned about after I started studying with Bob Proctor, because he was actually one of Bob Proctor's favorite teachers, him and Dr. Joseph Murphy, and amongst a lot of other people. So I had gotten into him about maybe 10 years ago, and I really enjoyed the content. Now, if you don't know, Neville Goddard, he was a mystical teacher back in the early 1900s. So he's no longer here in physical form, but his teachings are still available, and you can find so many resources and actual real lectures on YouTube. Unfortunately, there are a lot of AI-generated things going on in this world right now, so you are going to see that you'll probably find a lot of AI-generated Neville Goddard information. But to be honest, a lot of it's really not that bad. But I prefer like his old lectures and also his books. And so I've been on a really big kick with him lately. And the thing that I have learned, and you probably have too, is that the reason why we do study when we're into personal development and into this type of information is because every time we listen to something, and this goes for pretty much any aspect in our life, is you hear something different or something resonates with you that didn't resonate with you the time before. And I believe, especially with studying this material, it's because our awareness expands. So that's why it's so important to, if you are into this information, to, study daily, to broaden your awareness and your understanding. So today I want to talk about something. Now, Neville Goddard was very big on telling us, how important our imagination was as far as manifesting the things that we want. Now, I'm not going to say that I believe in everything that Neville Goddard thought, but I will say that I do believe that his teachings are spot on. And I've done enough research to know that the people who have followed who have read his books and who applied his teachings have had a lot of wonderful success. And to me, that's everything, especially in this type of work. I want to follow the people. I want to study the people who have had the success that I'm wanting. And I've done, again, enough research to find out that the people who have really taken his work seriously have had wonderful results. Now, he has written several books, The Power of Awareness, Feeling is a Secret, and he talks a lot about assuming like the state of your wish fulfilled. So I'm going to kind of slow down a little bit and kind of maybe break that down for you a little bit. So it was his belief and teachings, and he was taught by somebody called Abdullah, but that's something you can research on your own. But that was his teacher. So basically, his teachings come down to the fact that, we are always manifesting. Our thoughts create our reality. And basically, when we assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, it brings us closer to that whatever it is that we desire. So we're talking about manifestation today. And I love this topic. I have learned in my studies, it's true, we are always manifesting. We're just not always aware of it. And anything that we put attention on, not just our thoughts, but with feeling and emotion, we can draw that into our lives. Okay? I know this works. And while I am not exactly where I want to be in certain areas of my life, I'm learning, and this is a very important key, I'm learning to realize that I've had some limiting beliefs on certain subjects, and we do really have to become aware of what those limiting beliefs are we have to get rid of those so that we can manifest certain things in our life that we've maybe been blocking. So let's use the example of money, okay? I've said this before in other podcasts. I do not believe that money is evil. I believe that there are good people with money and there are bad people with money. And I also believe that if you are a good person with money, you can do a lot of good in this world. And, excuse me, money has been something that I've noticed that I've had a lot of limiting beliefs about. And since I've been working on those beliefs, really sitting down, becoming aware and sitting down and trying to figure out why do I have this belief? The crazy thing is, especially with money, the beliefs that we have, if they're negative, they're not even our beliefs to begin with. They are usually, and most always, the beliefs of whoever raised us, whether it was our parents, grandparents, family members. We tend to take on, because in the first 5 years of our life, we're basically a sponge. So we take on the beliefs of other people. Now, that just doesn't go for money. That goes for a lot of things, everything. How we view the world, how we think of other people, just where we think we can live. So it's pretty amazing. And I really hope that if you are a young person, because I'm going to be 52 this year, and again, I've been studying for 10 years, but if I would have known this information when I was in my 20s or 30s or even early 40s, wow, it would have just been so awesome. I'm grateful that I'm where I am now, but if you're a young person and you get into this, gosh, that would be just so wonderful for your life. So when I started realizing, wow, these aren't even my beliefs, that kind of freaked me out. I was like, well, then who am I? I have all these beliefs that I didn't choose. And now a belief is just a thought that we continue to think over and over and over and over again. All right. I learned that from Louise Hay. And it's true. That's what creates our beliefs, is just a repetition of a thought. But when you really think about it, and I really hope that you take some time after this podcast, hopefully, so you don't forget, so it's still fresh in your mind, to sit down and be like, you know what? What are my beliefs? What are my beliefs about money? What are my beliefs about relationships, love? What are my beliefs about really everything? And sit down and think, are those even religion or politics? Like, where did I get those beliefs? Are they mine? And I think that should be a question that every adult every even teenager starts to contemplate is, are these my beliefs? Have they been drilled into my subconscious mind by, parental figures and such? And when I realized, oh my gosh, for example, when I was growing up, my parents had 4 kids and there was some struggling going on. And I often heard, what do you think? Money grows on trees? Or, basically we can't afford it. All these really limiting things that were going on. And so I developed that mentality. And I'm now reversing it. And that's the beautiful thing with thoughts and beliefs, is that once we become aware, now that's the key. Because when you're not aware of how you've been thinking, nothing changes. But when you become aware of how you've been thinking, you can change it. And you do that through repetition. And you can also use hypnosis even, but repetition is really important. It's just basically switching that negative limiting belief into a positive statement and just saying it over and over and over again and feeling it. All right, so back to Neville Goddard. Excuse me 1 second. Sorry, I'm a little croaky today. So I've been listening to him again for years and years, and every time I do listen, I'll have an aha, like, oh, I never heard that before. So in regards to manifesting, Neville taught that we really have to embody the feeling. So it's one thing to say, let's just say as an example, I want to manifest $1 million. I want to either earn or attract $1 million by whatever date. And a lot of times these teachers, especially spiritual teachers, will say, just write it down and think about it. The problem is that doesn't help you manifest, just thinking. You really have to assume the feeling as if it's already happened. Now this is the way Neville taught it. Because our subconscious mind, now back then, I don't think he had the neuroscience information to back this. So this is why all of this is so cool, because for so long, all this stuff was just seemed like woo-woo and weird and mystical and, gypsy-like, I guess. But now they're starting to prove it, because with neuroscience, we're starting to realize how the brain is working and how manifestation occurs. So there is science backing all this now, which is great. So basically, he's teaching you have to embody what it would feel like. So, okay, you want this, you want money, you want $1 million. How would you feel? So you have to constantly get in this state throughout the day. The best times are first thing in the morning and right before bed, because that's when your subconscious mind is, you're basically in alpha brainwave state. So you're very close to there's a really thin wall between allowing your conscious and your subconscious, and things can get into the subconscious really quickly during those times. And that's where it has to go. Because the cool thing is your subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between something you think that's real or something that's really going on. So it doesn't care. But your subconscious is basically like a garden, if you want to think of it as a garden. And whatever you plant, whether it's good or negative, that's what you will start to see. Those are the results that you're going to see in your life. So I always use this example, all right, you wake up in the morning and first thing, you stub your toe on the bed. Oh gosh, you're all frustrated. You go into the bathroom, you drop the toothpaste into the toilet. I don't know. I was just thinking that was funny. And then, you can't find your keys. And then, you're late for work. And the whole time you're just yep, wonder what's going to happen next, Sure enough, you're walking down the sidewalk or you're walking into work and you slip on something, because your mind, you're manifesting that, you're attracting that, and you think, well, why would I want to attract something like that? You don't, but we're not aware of how powerful our mental states are and how powerful our thoughts are. So back to feeling, what I learned just in the last 48 hours from listening to the same lecture that I've been listening to almost 10 years, something popped out. And what Neville said was basically, I don't have my notes in front of me, but I'm just going to kind of give you an example. He said that our imagination is more powerful than what we're seeing with our five senses in the world right now. Because, and if you think about this, everything that you're looking at in your room right now, everything, the desk, the chair, the couch, your shower curtain, silverware, light fixtures, the fan, everything that's been created started where? In your imagination. Everything has to start first in the imagination before it can become a physical, tangible thing. So when he says that our imagination is more powerful than what we're seeing, what he's saying is that everything that's going on in your life right now, the current state of your bank account, since we're talking about money, and maybe, if you're wanting to find a partner, everything that's happening right now is a shadow. It's done. You already manifested it. How cool is that? So then you go back to the imagination. You realize that your imagination is creating your reality. And you start to focus on the things that you do want to bring into your life. You focus on them. And you're going to get pulled back by old negative thoughts. And that's okay. All right? This is not about perfection. It's about persistence when it comes to manifesting. All right, so here you are. You're feeling good. You wake up, you do your gratitude, because we all know that gratitude in the morning will set the day right for the rest of the day. It really does. And every time that we express gratitude, first of all, you're on one of the most highest vibrational states is appreciation and gratitude. And in order to manifest good things, we have to be on the same vibrational level as those things. So waking up in the morning, you do your gratitude. Now, these things happen to me, okay? I'm not perfect. I'm just really wanting to share this information with you because I have absolutely seen it work in my life, and I am not going to stop being a creator on purpose. But in any case, so you wake up, you do the gratitude, and all of a sudden, you get up, you start doing your thing. These little negative thoughts that, you've been thinking maybe for years, maybe for decades, maybe for a few months. Maybe it's somebody that's been on your nerves. Maybe you're just being down on yourself. Here they come. Guess what? That's okay. It's okay. Become aware. Just simply become aware and gently bring your mind back to focusing on the wish fulfilled. And people think, oh, that is just so weird. And we do think it's weird because, number one, we were never taught this. We were never taught how important our imagination is. We were never taught, most likely, to dream big, to imagine the best. We were taught as little kids, I know I was daydreaming in class, and I would get yelled at, like notes home to my mom, she's daydreaming. Well, daydreaming, we should never stop daydreaming. And the really cool thing, I've heard this from different teachers, if you ever notice a child, like they manifest everything so easily because they don't have any resistance. And if we could even act more like children, they know what they want. A baby, they will scream and cry until they get the attention that they need. They love themselves. They play with their feet. They play with their poop. I know it sounds gross, but they love every part of themselves because they're so pure. And they know that we are God's highest form of creation and that God loves us. And our Father wants great things for us. But unfortunately, through the years and through other people's thoughts and other people's beliefs, we have become a world of people that don't understand how powerful we are. And I think things are evolving, and I do believe things are changing. I think people are really stepping into their power because we do have access to all this great stuff, online. Now, of course, technology can be a bad thing too, but you can use it for good, use it to study these materials. So he's saying, and this is like the big aha, he's saying that everything that we're seeing right now, it's done. It's done. You've manifested it. Everything you're looking at, everything that's going on in your life. Now, I know there are circumstances that don't seem like, how could I have manifested my child being sick? Or how could I have manifested this terrible illness? Now, I'm not sure. Those kind of things that I can't tell you. But as far as the state of your bank account, the relationships that you have in your life, those are things that I can say. We are creating. We're creating the relationship, the friendships that we have. We are attracting all of that. So he's saying everything is what you're looking at right now. It's a shadow. It's done. But we can start to change everything. Like once you become aware of that, you're like, oh my gosh, all right, let me sit down and get really clear on what it is I want in my life, what it is I want to manifest. Maybe it's a new car, maybe it's a new job, maybe it's a new home. If you desire something, and I have done other podcasts on this, and I have been taught this, if you are desiring something, it is yours. You wouldn't have the desire if it wasn't possible for you to have it. And everybody's desires are different. So once you have that desire, your only job is to get into the same vibrational frequency as whatever it is you desire. You're desiring love? Be a loving person. Love yourself. Start sending love to people that maybe have hurt you. And you will be the reciprocator, I don't even know if I'm saying that, of the love coming back. And everything that we put out, any negative thought that we have and we are throwing out to another person, guess what? It's coming right back at you too. It is. It's literally like taking sand in your hand on a windy day and trying to blow it out, and it comes right back and smacks you in the face. Everything that we put out, whether it's good or bad, it comes back to us. And so I suggest putting out good. I suggest sending love. I suggest getting so clean in your mind that you don't have any resentment towards anyone, no matter what they've done to you. And if you know my background, I've had a lot of bad things happen to me in my life. I was physically abused for 9 years in a relationship. 9 years. I mean, severe physical abuse. And I'm not saying that for you to feel sorry for me. I'm telling you that to give you some encouragement. I had 5 children, not a dime to my name. I had to run away from this human being. Completely depressed. Didn't know where I was going to go. I ended up in a homeless woman's shelter. Okay? This was 16 years ago. My life has changed so much. And I can definitely tell you, for one, it's been my faith in God, and 2, studying personal development and learning about myself and learning about the powers that we do have. I have a very happy life. Again, I'm not exactly where I want to be in certain aspects, but I'm understanding and I'm getting better every single day. So I think everybody should just get so clear in their mind, like have no anger. And I do have some podcasts out there that you can listen to as far as helping people learn to forgive. That's a huge game changer in your life. Once you don't wake up and have these like ruminating negative thoughts about people, that's being in prison. I want you to be free. I want you to be so free that you wake up and you don't have a negative thought about anybody. You just wake up, do your gratitude. Now, is shit going to happen? Yes. Are you going to have challenges? Yes. But once you start learning this type of work, you start seeing things a little bit differently. And it gives you a little bit more, strength. understanding to get through the challenging times that we all go through. We all go through things, loss, grief, breakups, divorce, all that stuff. We go through these things, and if we have some peace in our minds, and we understand that this universe we are manifesting all the time, whether you like it or not, we can start working with these universal laws and start creating just more peace and balance in our lives. So, all right, so let's get back to this. So he said, now I'm hoping that you're getting this, because if you get what I'm trying to, and hopefully I'm expressing it right, but I'm going to keep working on this, because this is it, my friends. This is it. This is a secret. You have to, when there is something that you're wanting in your life, you have to feel like it's already done. Even if it's not, and even if that seems so crazy, you have to embody the feeling, and you have to embody emotion. You have to spend a couple times at least, and again in the morning and the evening for sure, but as many times as you can, closing your eyes and not just repeating a mantra like, I want $1 million, I want $1 million. No, close your eyes. Okay, ask yourself, what would that feel like? And he says to create a scene that would imply that this has already happened. So say it was $1 million. Okay, now I know that's a far stretch for a lot of people, but I'm just using it as an example. It's not impossible though, but it is a far stretch, especially if we have limiting beliefs on money that we need to work out. All right, so what he means is to think of a scene like, okay, you attracted the $1 million. Somehow, you earned it, whatever, however it happened, you have it. It's in your bank account. And imagine telling like your partner, or maybe your mother, your father, somebody that loves you, somebody that's going to be happy for you, not somebody that's going to be jealous of you, but somebody that's going to be really happy. And imagine that scene, telling them, close your eyes and like imagine it, and imagine like maybe jumping up and down, or them hugging you like, oh my gosh, you did it, And that's what he's saying. And when you start rehearsing these mental scenes in your mind, you are feeling this information bringing it into the subconscious mind. And again, that's the garden. That's the garden. And I love that he always says, and my mentor, Bob Proctor, said the same thing. And if you ever listen to him, you'll know what I'm talking about. He says, what do you want, right? Get really clear on it. This is what Bob would say. And he wanted us to stretch. He would call them stretch goals. So not something you've already done. He would call like that like an A goal. He wanted you to go for like the C goal. Not something that you think you could do, but something that you really have no freaking idea how you're going to accomplish it, but you want it. Something that scares you. He was like, if it doesn't scare you, then it's not good enough. It's not a good enough goal. So create that stretch goal and believe that it's already happened. Write it out, get really clear on it, and start realizing that you are so powerful, my friend. We all are. We were all given this. We were all given this ability to, use our minds and as gardens and plant good stuff. And the more good stuff we plant, the more good stuff shows up in our life. Now, ultimately, I think everyone's goal is, the ultimate goal is to be happy and to be peaceful. And I believe a lot of times we think in having these certain things like, the cars, the big houses, or all the money, why do we want it? We want it because of the way it's going to make us feel. So if we can be happy prior to these certain events that we're wanting to manifest into our life, you're going to get there a lot quicker. All right. So everything that's going on right now, it's a shadow. It's done. So we can start to look at things a little bit differently, not just through our five senses, not just through the things, okay, oh, but Denise, $1 million, it's not in my bank account. I don't see it. You don't have, here's what I was going to say. Both of them said, that's not up to you to know how you're going to do it. You pick that goal. That is God's job. That's, whether you call God, universe, I call God. That is God's job. but all the things just start to work. The people that you might need to meet, the circumstances, ideas come to you. You don't have to worry about the how. You just have to worry about getting into the feeling and assuming it as if it's already happened. Seems crazy? Fine. Why not try it? And that's something Neville always mentions in all of his lectures. Try it for yourself. Because you hearing me talk about it, or you hearing him talk about it, or any mentor for that matter, you're not going to learn that way. We only learn through our own experiences. So, but what's it going to hurt? Okay, it might sound weird. Oh gosh, I'm sitting here daydreaming and getting into the feeling of, being wealthy or being healthy. I mean, that's a real important one. And they have proven cases of people, regaining their health from practicing these types of techniques. Thousands. They have proof it works. So you might seem a little weird. You don't have to tell anybody what you're doing, That's one thing. Nobody has to know what's going on in your mind. Nobody has to know what you're thinking right before bed or right when you wake up or when you go to the bathroom at work. Like, nobody needs to know, or when you're driving. But get yourself into the feeling of whatever it is that you want to manifest in your life and feel that it's done. It's done. Just say, it's done. It's done. And then instead of just going back and repeating the affirmation, I won $1 million, I won $1 million, I am a millionaire, I'm a millionaire, that's not working for you because there's no feeling behind it. Those are just words. Now, repetition is really important. You tell yourself a lie enough times, you end up believing it. I mean, there's some truth to that. But if you really want to get the things that you desire, you really do have to assume the feeling that it's already done. And the coolest thing, once again, that I learned, the aha, was that everything you're seeing right now, it's a shadow. It's done. You already did it. And that our imagination is more powerful than the world that we're looking at through our senses and seeing, tasting, feeling, touching. That our imagination is the workshop. And again, if you doubt that, look around. Look at the clothes you're wearing. That was somebody's, I'm wearing yoga pants. Somebody thought about that, That was a thought before it was physical. So it all starts there in the imagination. And when we understand all this, we really can become, creators on purpose rather than by default. All right. Okay, with that being said, I'm going to get more onto this. I think I'm going to start maybe like a little study group and start with Neville Goddard. I think that would be a fun thing to do on the podcast. And you can leave, just comments in the notes if you want me to, focus on other teachers such as maybe Florence Scovel Shin or Dr. Joseph Murphy. But we could really have a lot of fun with this. So all right. I don't think I did I hope you guys listened to my last podcast. That was really fun. I did an interview with best-selling author Judith Belmont. If you haven't listened to that one, that's a good one. She gave some really awesome tips on helping with negative thoughts and stress and how to reframe using cognitive behavioral therapy. So, all right. What we're going to do before we end is we're going to take a couple deep breaths together. So sit up straight. You can close your eyes as long as you're not driving. And we're going to be taking deep breaths in through our noses with a long extended exhale out of our mouth. So just 3 times, just a deep breath in through the nose and a long exhale out of the mouth. 2 more times. Deep breath in. Exhale out. One last time. Deep breath in. Exhale out. All right, my friends. Thank you again for joining me. So this is a podcast. I'm on all different forms, from Spotify, Apple, Google, iHeartRadio, and all those great places. But my podcasts are also showing up on YouTube now. So if you are listening to me on YouTube, please subscribe. If you'd like to hear more from me, it's really going to help me get my message out to more people. All right, until next time, take care, stay well. Namaste.